So in a vision this month, I'm walking along my path and I see a black rock directly in the center of my path. In fact, it's so big, it's blocking my progress forward. I can't go any further forward. And I no idea, what is this black rock? It looks like a piece of coal. So, I Google black rock. What is black rock? And I come up with a financial institution that's based in New York City. And I did a bit more Googling to find out more about this financial institution. And it turns out that BlackRock is the largest shadow bank in the entire world. I think it has the largest asset holding of any organization, bigger than nations. It's like a web of financial investments across the globe, but has managed to escape regulation that other public financial institutions like the Federal Reserve Bank, for example, are subject to. So this organization invests in competing businesses, corporate organizations in multiple sectors, to the point where it almost has this monopolistic effect, influence over competitors in the marketplace. And on top of this, they have been contracted to consult with multiple governments across the world, including the United States, the EU, and China. They are invested in oil and gas. Every oil and gas company, the most significant investor. They are invested in arms manufacturing, deforestation, and big tech organizations as well. They have a significant influence on decisions that are being made and policies that are being rolled out. Their employees have been appointed into various American administrations. And what this is showing is that there is a massive dilution, a corruption of government sector, where independence and conflicts of interests have become so merged that there is no distinction between the private sector and the public sector anymore. The voice of one is effectively the voice of the other. There's no independence between the government, who are supposed to act as agents on behalf of the nation as elected representatives. They're supposed to have no conflicts of interest. They're supposed to be independent of bias. This is also true of boards of directors. They have duties, fiduciary duties toward their owners, the shareholders and investors. What we're seeing is a merging of power centers, the mouthpieces, the private sector and the public sector, as if they were all one, speaking the one word, singing from the same hymn book, in agreement, in accord with each other. And on top of that, we have extra government global organizations like the UN and the who are also being significantly financed by major private sector organizations. Bill Gates apparently contributes 25% of the WHO's budget. And he has a vested private interest in propagating the sale of vaccines. It looks like philanthropy on the surface, but behind the scenes, really, this is about profiteering for private interest, which is aligned with the agendas of the public sector, the government's medical advice that's being projected by people like Dr. Fauci on the stage, as if he was an expert who has no bias or allegiance to personal interests, gains. He's just there doing this for, benevolent, virtuous reasons. Not so. The private sector profiteering interests of individuals and the corporate sector are 100% aligned with the government organisations, to the point where government have become an arm of the private sector, a fascist corporate organisation, not democracy. Can this be redeemed? The situation is no longer what we thought it was. It's got to a point where potentially it is irredeemable, and this alignment of interests has become so stark, completely black and white. The one serving the beast and the false prophet, and the other serving the kingdom of heaven. So this is the reason why we've been brought to a T intersection, and Jesus is asking, he's saying, I'm aligning everything. You need to choose who you serve. You need to choose which spirit you're going to be aligned with, because there is a complete divide going on at a government level, on a global level. And there are only two kingdoms being established. One, darkness, which leads to destruction, and the other, the light that leads to salvation.